Hey guys, summer is now here. We're about to go on holidays, and I bet you're now thinking, what am I going to do for my holidays? So I want to try and encourage you and talk to you a little bit about the sea and why it's so important to actually get to the beach during our summer break and try and spend as much time in the water as possible. You see, the beach is a really amazing place. Yeah, we all experience that the birds are flying around, the sun's in the sky, you hear the crashing of the waves. It's such a beautiful, peaceful area. But is it possible that just being in the water may have health benefits? Well, that's what I'm talking about today. So the first thing we need to remember is that when we start talking about seawater, most people think of salt. And when they think of salt, they think of the substance sodium. But salt just doesn't mean sodium. Salt really relates more to the chloride ions that are associated with it. So when we start talking about table salt, we talk about sodium chloride. When we start talking about the beach, we actually talk about various different minerals, not just sodium. In fact, some of the key nutrients that we see in seawater are magnesium, zinc, iron, and potassium. And these are all really important minerals for good health. Now, I'm not saying to drink it, that's not where we're going with it, but you do absorb some of this stuff when you start spending time with it. So what are the key things that we see improvements in with people, or what are the key benefits we see people have when they start spending time in the sea? All right, so let's start with the obvious one, and that's the mental side of things. So there's a psychologist by the name of Csikszentmihalyi, and that is how you pronounce it, yes, who is a very important psychologist who's been doing a lot of work on a topic known as flow. So what is flow? Flow really is where you're at mentally. You see, we always look for the grass is greener on the other side, yeah? So for instance, the bigger house will make me happier. More kids will make me happier. Less kids will make me happier. Being married will make me happier. A better car will make me happier. More income will make me happier. And this is what we're always talking about. We're always talking about what are the things that I can possess that will make me happier, rather than actually understanding that living in the moment and clearing your head of those things are really the things that are going to give you that divine happiness that you're looking for. Simply obtaining more possessions just generally means you're dedicating more brain cells to those possessions, and therefore those possessions are starting to own you somewhat. So what he talks about in terms of getting into the flow is really all about how do we clear our mind from everything that is not important to you right now than this moment in time. And this is where things like the beach become in so incredibly well, especially if you surf, because at that moment in time, if you're not concentrating on what you're doing, you're going off the board and you're falling down. So this is where the flow in the beach comes really, really handy, because just even being in the beach and hearing the crashings of waves for a lot of people will get them into the flow and clear all those ant thought processes, those automated negative thoughts out of your head, and just allow you to focus on the here and now at this point in time and let you live life in a peaceful way. So it's really important to get into the flow. The other aspect of that we can use as well is the actual cold exposure itself. And we can talk for hours on the benefits of cold exposure on the human body. Long gone are these myths that, don't get cold because you'll catch a cold, which we now know is absolute fallacy. We know these things are triggered by viruses and things like this. It has nothing to do with you getting cold itself. In fact, cold exposure has actually been shown to improve the immune system. There's been several studies done now showing that the more time you spend in cold, the more it can improve your immune system, and a whole lot of other thermoregulatory mechanisms as well, including your vagal tone. And people like Wim Hof have done tons of research around, or been research on himself, on the benefits of cold exposure on the immune system itself. And the other thing we understand with cold is that when you're in the cold, generally speaking, and I do say generally, but generally speaking, nothing else matters but the cold. In other words, it automatically gets you into a state of flow. How much you're earning, what your boss said to you last week, all these things are irrelevant when you're in the cold. It's just about trying to get through the cold. So we end up in the flow just from that. So we get huge benefits to our vagal system. If you're not sure about what your vagus nerve does and the like, we did a whole series of videos on this going back about a month or two ago that you can go back and watch, where we talk about the benefits of vagal function on our overall health. And cold exposure is a great way of getting this up. Lung function. There's been some evidence now showing, and it's still early days, but there's been some evidence showing now that breathing in the sea air and being around the sea air may actually reduce inflammation inside the lungs. There's been talk about doing this with cystic fibrosis patients, but there's also been some studies, at least early on, suggesting that it will help things like asthma and other types of respiratory ailments that are similar to that. And then, of course, we have the skin. Remember, all these nutrients are in constant contact with the skin, so there's suggestion that there may be an improved smoothness, so getting rid of the roughness in the skin, reducing dryness, and also improving hydration in the skin as well. So as you can see, there's a ton of different reasons why the sea can actually be of really benefit to you. We want to make sure that we're keeping away from polluted waterways, so please don't swim in the bay after rains and things like this. But if you can get out into the open areas, into Bass Strait or into other areas, especially if that water is really cold, it can actually have quite significant, profound effects on you, not just the experience, but also from your general health as well. So even if it's just as simple as a 15-minute dip every day while you're on your holidays, that will do a world of good. You'll come back feeling better than you ever have. But if you can spend more time in the water, the more time you spend in it, the better it's going to be for you. So I'm hoping that I've convinced you to go out and go enjoy the surf, learn to surf, go paddle a board, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you really have some fun and get into the flow. And drop all the rubbish behind. You'll find your holidays will be so much better, and you'll be ready to start 2021 with an amazing mindset, ready to turn it in and churn out some amazing material with the right state of mind heading forward. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, want to know more about certain aspects of the beach or anything like that, we'll try to keep it again really simple for you, so that it gives you some key points that you can take home and you can utilize straight away without having to overload you with a lot of research. But if you have any questions, post them up or send me a message. And remember, it's all about adding use and quality to your life. See you soon. Bye for now, guys.